Hey everyone, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my patio plant tour. So this is episode 2 for the Santa Monica Collective, and I filmed the front of the home plant tour, I want to say maybe a month ago, and I finally have some time before going back to Las Vegas for 2 weeks and Costa Rica for 2 weeks to share with you what the collection looks like currently in the patio. And when I'm back from Costa Rica, maybe in a month from now, I'll go ahead and share with you what the studio looks like and the bathroom looks like. So plants are always coming and going and shifting around, and I just want to give a big shout out before we start the tour to my grandma for helping me get the space ready to be film ready. The collection does get trashed outside in my space. If you guys are familiar, I have crazy trees that create trash every day. Ideally, I would love to have a covered space for them, but I am just thankful to have outdoor space and to be able to have my plants out here all year long. I'm 4 miles from Santa Monica Beach, so it is plant season all year long for me here in my part of the world. And there is a little bit of shifting happening with the collection as I take plants to the Las Vegas Collective, and in the future I will share with you, once I'm all set up with styling plants in Las Vegas, a plant tour there. So without further ado, let's do a plant tour. I'll give you guys a quick overview of what the space looks like, and then we'll go section by section. I hope you guys enjoy today's plant tour. So before I go section by section, I want to give you guys a quick little overview of what you see as you enter the space. I did move the wicker chairs and the wicker table, so that's something that you will see shifted, as well as the fountain and the wooden bench. Other than that, the potting bench and my succulent shelf still remains the same. Here's a quick overview, point of view from my potting bench, what you see. So definitely some things has shifted as far as for styling plants. And you can see George there is taking up that corner pocket. And here is the point of view from my patio door entering my studio. So as you see, I now kind of shifted around the plants that was there. I no longer have sensiverias all hugged together in that section, and I have my wicker chair there. Okay, so here we are at my succulent shelf, a big quick overview. And you can see there's a mixture of terracottas, ceramic planters here. And for the most part, I want to say most of the plants on this shelf are succulents. You do see my big Hoya obovata on the plant stand. It's been living there, I think, since the last plant tour. But very fun to see a mixture of succulent babies here. A lot of trailing senecios, as well as haworthias and cressulas is kind of what the vibe of this section is. I would love to add more plants to this section if I could go higher, but I think 4 tiers has been working well for me. But that would definitely be something I would love to do if I could add more shelving, is go up higher. But very fun to see like the pink ice hanging out on the top left next to my Cressula Gallum and my Senecio, which I don't know if it'll ever give me a bloom living there in my patio. I may have to move it to the front of my home maybe to bloom for me in the future. But for now, everyone is doing really good. I don't think there's any new plant babies since the last plant tour here. For the most part, these have been living on this particular succulent shelf since my last plant tour. Alright, very fun section, and you'll be able to see the plant babies more up close at the end when I do the montage. So right here you see on the left hand side, I have my fountain. Now my wooden bench and my fountain switch places. I wanted the fountain to be more close to the entrance. And you see on the left hand side I have my gorgeous begonia, and that was one of my favorite plants that I purchased for 2021, and I think that is the largest begonia I ever had. I did dry all of the blooms, and I still have a handful left that I'm saving for my resin art. But begonias are definitely one of my favorites to collect prior to creating resin art because of the beautiful foliage. I have it next to the fountain, and as well as a bunch of different things. I think from the last plant tour, I do have alocasias surrounding it still, a lot of philodendrons, and then I have my string of dolphins and my peperomia gallum and my peperomia kamichii still kind of hanging and trailing on the top section of the fountain, as well as my dracaena, that I've had for many years. You can see that on the bottom, as well as my big tall ruby rubber plant. So I have that in the back there. And I have one of my philodendrons bipenifoliums here. The other one is in my studio, kind of trailing crazy in front of my one window. And you will see on the right hand side my big red Congo philodendron. That plant has shifted so many places in the patio. I do see that it's getting too much sun, so I may have to shift it to somewhere else in the future, but I see that it's giving me a new leaf. So that's kind of what's going on in this section. So far so good. Okay, so I'll go more deeper into all of the plants and where they are hiding at the end of the video in the montage. So in this section behind the red Congo, I have some ferns here, as well as one of my spider plants and my not so happy philodendron Birkin. So those are the plants that are living on the wooden bench behind my large alocasia and red Congo. In this section here, you see my, I believe, crocodile fern hanging in the planter, as well as some of my philodendrons. I have my philodendron Xanadu. George here, he keeps moving in the patio, but he has this whole corner pocket now. And then I have one of my vintage wicker plants. So I have my peperomia rubber plant here. One of my favorites, I believe this is a red edge peperomia. I've had it so many years in the collection. I originally got it from Las Vegas, but these plants were originally purchased in Las Vegas many years ago, and it's doing really well in this part of the patio. And I don't think these plants were here in my last plant tour, so they do shift around. Okay, here we are, and you'll get better points of view when I start walking around for the montage at the end. This is quadrangularis on the top, growing crazy. I also have my senecio, variegated senecio. I don't know what to do with it, but it's there, and I'm just trying to figure out life. It was living in my patio. It was actually living in my kitchen window, and I've now brought it out here. We'll see what I do with it. And then I have some ripsalises here. I have 3 ripsalises going down, and then you'll see at the end of the video I have a peperomia, as well as my variegated rubber plant on the bottom. But I definitely do use all of this space here. Very hard to see from this point of view, but so far so good. This vintage plant stand was never here. It was actually living where the wooden benches where we just did some plant talk. So I actually had this vintage spiral plant stand where George is at, but now they switch places. Hopefully the plants that are on the spiral plant stand will love living here. I did this shift well over a month ago, and so far so good. There's so many corner pockets of plants here. So I have some of my spider plants here, my Hawaiian spider plant doing really good. I have some philodendrons here, looks like maybe a red emerald, and I have my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma and my variegated rubber plant, which is also one of my favorites. I love peperomias, and that's one of my oldest peperomias besides my red edge in the current collection. I guess we can talk about some of the hanging plants here. So I have one of my I want to say this is a grandiflora ripsalis. It's been with me for a long time. It's kind of struggling right now, but there's still life to it. And then hanging here on the left side of the patio wall, I have some of my Hoyas. You see the double tier macrame hanging setup that was in the front of my gate entrance. I've now moved it here with the other Hoyas. Hopefully it'll be okay. I'm always moving it when it was hanging it in the front of the door because I do lock up my space when I leave. So it's been living here for the last month. And I also have my big senecio string of hooks. Been with me for many years. And then right next to it, you can't really see it from this point of view, is one of my newest Hoyas from Florida next to another ripsalis. You'll see a lot of Hoyas and ripsalises on my hanging section of the patio. Okay, so here we are a little backed up. You can see what the Tiffany blue table looks like. I have one of my newest monsteras that I picked up at the end of the year for 2021 plant haul. I love it. I just did a planting with Jewelyn an hour ago, planting this up. And other than that, it was living in its nursery planter hanged up inside of my Santa Monica studio. I'll see if I'll leave it here while I'm away for a week and a half in Las Vegas. But very fun to see another tray leaf plant added into the collective, especially since the Monstera I've never had. And then in the back section of the table, you see my big Pilea peperomioides. It's actually in bloom, and I'll share that at the end of the video, as well as some plant cuttings from my subscriber and some fallout cuttings from my jade tree, and my newest Hoya retusa, and one of my plants from Planting with Jewelyn Plant Awards, and that is my crested aeonium sunburst variegata. So that's kind of what's living currently on the patio table. This table sees it all. It sees my grill, it sees my potting table when I do Planting with Jewelyn. So it is an all-purpose table, and I'm always kind of switching our plants around, but for sure the Pilea peperomioides and my crested aeonium lives here full time. All right, in this section, fairly new when I restyled the plants, I have some of my Senseverias here and one of my Hoyas that is kind of struggling with my lifestyle and schedule, but hopefully it loves living here. And if it does rain, these plants will definitely come inside of the home. But if you notice from my last patio plant tour, I'm kind of spreading the Senseverias and not having them kind of grouped up together like I've done in the past. And a lot has also moved to Las Vegas. Also in this section, I have my silver sword as well as one of my anthuriums here. Both rare plants for me, and they're both struggling with my schedule of not really being around. They've always lived in the patio. I think at one point my silver sword was living in my studio, but I have so many new plants that has shifted to inside of the home since I purchased the silver sword. So it's been living here in the patio since maybe a couple months back. So those are the two house plants that are living in this corner pocket. Okay, so here's another point of view of the hanging plant section. So a lot of different Hoyas and Ripsalises. You also see my Brazil trailing, looking beautiful with its variegated neon leaves. And that was one of my plants for Planting with Jewelyn Plant Awards, doing really well. I've had that trailing Brazil for several years in the collection. All of my Hoyas do really well here. You also see that I have like the Christmas cactus. I want to say it's Christmas or Thanksgiving, I never know. As well as my Cresselas here. I have the Cressula Ruby Cascade, I believe, as well as my multi-floor. And then on this section here, you see one of my epiphytic cacti that I got from a subscriber, as well as my cactus fern and my Epiphyllum angular, and that is one of my rickracs. So doing really well, and hopefully this patio fencing can hold the weight of my plants. So far, all these years living in this space, it's been able to hold up. And then you see here my beautiful award-winning beautiful fern here, and it's one of my favorites. You guys know I love collecting ferns, and this has been with the collection for a while, and it's been always living in the patio full-time. So very gorgeous bird nest fern, but I have 3 in the patio right now. Okay, in this section you see I have one of the plant babies that I rescued from my subscriber. So it's been living here. At one point when I brought it into the collection, it was living in my bathroom, and it's been living out here in the patio maybe for about 2-3 weeks. You see a bunch of different Senseverias, my baseball Senseverias, as well as one of my favorite Tridescantias, the Big Bertha. I love that plant so much. If I can find more of it, I would love to have more. It's gorgeous. And then you see in the back there, I have a Ripsalis and more Senseverias. But I try to not have a lot of plants in this section anymore because I'm just tired of the trash from the tree. It's an ongoing issue. But it's nice to see a little green in this corner pocket of the patio. Okay, so this is the behind the scenes of my plant life. I want to give a big shout out to my grandma for helping me go through the potting bench and the planters. As you can see, I have tons and tons of planters. They wrap actually around the Santa Monica studio. I was also given a bunch of planters from subscribers, and I always shift my plants around if they're not happy. So I do have a big selection of terracotta ceramics planters here for upcoming planting with Jewelyns. And then I do have my wicker side table here. I have a bunch of sansevieras and one of my peperomias here. I try to not have too much going on the floor because of the trash from the tree. So if I can get all of my plants up, which you kind of notice, except by the fountain, all of the plants are up from being on the ground, and it's a lot easier for me to blow through my patio and clean up the space as much as I can. So here's another look of the potting bench. I have all of my supplies here, but when I'm not filming a plant tour, this potting bench is covered with a big plastic sheet because it'll just get trash from the tree. But this is what I have. Everything that I do for plant life, from soil to leca balls to moss, coco coir, all of my tools, everything lives on this potting bench. And it was my first thrift that I got many years ago when I moved into this space, and it's probably one of my favorite finds. All right, and here we are, the front of the door. I have my Hoyas here, the Crinkle 8, and I believe that is just a regular Carnosa. And my gorgeous award-winning Hoya compacta, my Hindu rope. So gorgeous, and they love living here. My Hoya compacta bloomed for me, unbelievable. So if you are interested in purchasing any of my resin art, you see a lot of the blooms from my collection in my art, which makes it super special. But so far, these Hoyas have been living here since the last plant tour. It blooms for me, and I am definitely happy they're happy. So that's everything in this part of the patio. That is gonna wrap up today's video. I hope you guys enjoy seeing what the Santa Monica patio currently looks like as we enter February 2022. I know it's been a while since I shared the patio and what the space looks like. I'm really happy with the few changes that I've made in the patio as far as for moving furniture around. I always like to do something different for plant tours, and I love working with my space and what I have. So I think where the collection and where the furniture is right now, I'm happy with. We'll see in the next plant tour if I shift things around. And I really like the way how the front of the home looks like. So if you haven't watched episode 1 of Planting with Jewelyn plant tour for 2021-22, go ahead and check it out, because I just redid the whole front of the house to start my new plant year nice and fresh. And I'm always shifting plants. Stick around in the future. I want to say 1 month from now, when I'm back from traveling and in between Las Vegas and Santa Monica, I will film a studio plant tour and bathroom plant tour. Hopefully the plants will be okay as I travel and split my time between 2 states, and that's definitely something that is challenging, that I've seen my plant life go through over the last 1.5 to 2 years ever since the lockdown. But I'm happy to be here and happy to share with you my Santa Monica patio. I want to do a giveaway. I love doing giveaways whenever I do plant tours. Anyone can enter as long as you're publicly subscribed to both of the channels. This channel, the main channel, and Jewel of Hawaii, the vlog channel. Leave a comment down below, city, state, country that you live in. And also, if you have an outdoor space, what is your favorite plant that you love having outdoors? Or if you had an outdoor space, what plant would you like to see outside? I definitely do appreciate my shaded patio. I definitely don't appreciate the trash that comes through the tree and the patio, but I'm definitely thankful to having my outdoor space. And for the most part, I love all of the plants here and where they're at styled. I think they're really happy, and I will share with you in the future what is going on inside of the home. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the patio plant tour, and I will pick a winner 1 week from the time this video goes live, and I will announce it on Thursday's check-in. So anyone can enter, and you'll be able to receive one of my resin Monstera bookmarks. And this is perfect for anyone who loves to take notes on their plants, perhaps, or a journal, or maybe like a log of your plant life. I think that'd be really fun to see this bookmark live there. Or if you're reading a book of plants, I think that'd be really fun to see as well. So I'll ship this off to one of you guys, and I will announce the winner 1 week from the time this video goes live. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the Santa Monica collection episode 2, and I look forward to sharing with you episode 3 and 4 in the future. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Subscribe for daily uploads between the main channel and the vlog channel. You get a video each and every day. Aloha from Santa Monica, California. Bye.